Hello, fellow residents of Tamriel. It is the Beeve once again, and we are moving on to our next build video for the upcoming Update 33 Ascending Tides DLC. This is a Stamina Nightblade. A couple small little changes to this that you will see from other Stam characters when it comes to gear-wise. First and foremost, we're using the Kinross Greatsword. The reason we're using the Greatsword is because with the hard cap on the critical damage being 125%, we find ourselves not using an axe in this situation because of the Nightblade passives that give extra critical damage and whatnot. It's way too easy to over crit on this Trial Atronach dummy, and you're not getting any bonus damage for your, going over that 125%. So, found a way to get it rated 125%, and part of that is having the Greatsword. And the sword gives us extra weapon and spell damage as well while we're, wielding it because of the two-hand passives. So it works out very well. You'll see in the Parse. This is precise, and we are using a double dot poison. This is the Crown Lethal poison is literally the same as the double dot poison, the drain health poison that you can make. I think the Crown Lethal poison actually does just a couple points more damage than the double dot poison, but I mean it's still it's negligible, honestly. We are using a Maelstrom's Perfected Bow with an infused trait and a weapon damage glyph on it. We are using all three jewelry pieces are Kinross with Bloodthirsty trait and weapon damage enchantments on all three of them. We are using Perfected Reliquins. This is not a necessity to be perfected, neither is the bow. Keep that in mind. Just won't do as much damage output, but it'll still be really close, to be honest with you. So perfected versions are not a necessity. We are using Stormfist. We are using a heavy head and a light shoulder for our Undaunted passives, and I like the Stormfist myself because it does a good bit of damage. Not to mention, you get that stamina recovery, which is pretty important on some of these stamina builds with how many abilities you have to use. Not necessarily this one so much, but regardless. You can use whatever helm you prefer. This is just what I like. All of our body pieces are in max stamina, and all of them are in the Divine's trait. We look at our character sheet. We got 13,000 maximum health, 21,000 maximum, 13,000 maximum stamina, 21,000 maximum health. We are an orc, and so we do get a little extra, another 1,000 health because the fact that we are an orc. Wow, that was messed that one up. Anyway, maximum stamina goes to 32,500, recovery of 1655. We have a weapon damage of 4612 and a weapon critical of 44.6, penetration 1639. Our spell and physical resistances are both in the 13,000 point range. The points we have allocated everything into stamina. We are using the Thief Mundus Stone, and we are using the Lavafoot Soup and Saltrice. This is a non-health providing food. You can use a Artaeum Takeaway Broth or a Dubious Camoran Throne for extra health. Just know that your maximum stamina is going to drop a little, and so will your stamina recovery. Skills in rotation. Skills, we're using Endless Hail. We're using Twisting Path. Barbed Trap. I have Piercing Mark on here. This is, these two right here are utility. You can put here what you like. I just have the extra, I have the assassination abilities on here to raise my crit chance on this bar because of the assassination passives. And I'm using Incapacitating Strike. I have Incapacitating Strike on the back as well. This is a heavy hitting ultimate, and it lets you do 20% more damage for 6 seconds after using it as well. It's only 70 ultimate to cost, so you can throw it out a good bit, and it's a really nice ultimate to have. Plus, while it's slotted, you gain Reeve, which increases which restores 100 magicka and stamina when you deal damage with a light or heavy attack on an enemy with a negative effect on them. We are using Relentless Focus on our front bar, our Arcane Ruz bar. We are using Relentless Focus. We're using Wrecking Blow. We're using Executioner. Somebody was apparently trying to call me. We're using Executioner, we are using Dark Shade, and we are using Mirage. Once again, the Mirage is a utility. You can slot Siphoning Strikes here. You can slot it up here if you have trouble with Sustain, or if you just want that health back from doing light and heavy attacks while that's active. So that's always an option of something you can put there. Also, for a little less overall damage output, you can use the Surprise Attack instead of the Wrecking Blow. It doesn't do as much damage, but it is something that you can use instead if you like. The rotation itself is going to be Endless Hail, Twisting Path, Barbed Trap, and then we're going to Bar Swap. Then we're going to use Dark Shade, and then we're basically going to spam Wrecking Blow. This is our spammable ability. Now, we're going to make sure that our Relentless Focus is active when we first start the fight, and anytime we're on this main bar right here, and this procs the Spectral Bow, to fire off the Assassin's Scourge. Every 5 light attacks lights this up, so you can pull out the Spectral Bow and smack somebody with it. And so we're gonna mix in, a lot of Wrecking Blows, and when that Assassin's Scourge procs, we're going to be using it as well. So there's no guaranteed rotation to this. It's just making sure whenever this Relentless Focus is up, we will be foregoing a Wrecking Blow to use the Relentless Focus. Once we get into Execute phase, which I find about 30% now is the best time to start using the Executioner, because this does work at 50% or below health, but at 30% it starts really doing a lot better damage than Wrecking Blow does. So at 30%, I'm going to basically forego my Wrecking Blows and use my Executioner. I will make sure I keep my Relentless Focus up, but I am not going to use my Relentless Focus. I'm going to let that weapon and spell damage that you get for the light attacks and heavy attacks that stack up, I'm going to let that stack up and stay active while I'm using my Executioner. You'll see how I do it in the Parse. So, real quickly again, Light Attack Endless Hail, Light Attack Twisting Path, Light Attack Bar Trap, Bar Swap. Light Attack Dark Shade, and then we're going to Light Attack Wrecking Blow, and anytime our Relentless Focus procs, we are going to use it. When we get to 30%, we're going to stop using the Wrecking Blows, and we're going to start using Executioner, and that will be our finisher right there. That's how our rotation is going to change. Champion points green tree is always the same. I'm using Steadfast Enchantments, Slotted Treasure Hunter, Slotted Rationer, Slotted Liquid Efficiency, Slotted Steed's Blessing. Warfare tree, I have, in the Starving Death, I have 20 Quick Recovery, 20 Hardy, 20 Elemental Aegis, and 20 Preparation. 20 in my Timeless Discipline, 20 in Eldritch Insight, and 20 points in Blessed over here in the Master Curation. We have our precision filled in. We have our wrathful strikes filled in and slotted. We have our backstabber filled in and slotted. We have our deadly aim filled in and slotted. We have our master at arms filled in and slotted. In our extended might, we have everything filled in through here except for the weapons expert. You definitely want to make sure you have battle mastery and mighty. And then if you have the extra points to do so, Flawless Ritual and War Mage, because you are doing magic damage with this build as well. The Twisting Path is magic damage, and the Dark Shade is magic damage. You'll see a lot of other stuff filled in here, because I was messing with a lot of different things here, but none of them are giving me any bonuses. It is because they aren't slotted. All I have slotted is Master at Arms, Deadly Aim, Wrathful Strikes, and Backstabber. I don't have the Fighting Finesse slotted in this situation because the over crit that we talked about earlier. That's why Wrathful Strikes is in here instead of Fighting Finesse. We're already at cap with our Backstabber on, so we go with the Wrathful Strikes. You can choose something else if you like, if you want to do more damage with like damage over time abilities or area of effect abilities, or you just wanted to, slot Untamed Aggression for another 150 weapon and spell damage. But this is what seems to work best for me, at least. Fitness Tree. Rejuvenation slotted, Fortified slotted, Boundless Vitality slotted. I have my Tumbling, my Defiance. I got 50 points in my Mystic Tenacity inside of the Survivor's Spite Tree. I have Hero's Vigor. I have Bloody Renewal. This is my other slotted. And then we got, all these, things through here that don't need to be slotted. If you have the extra points for, go ahead and fill them in. If you don't, they're not a big deal. You can also fill in your Piercing Gaze and go up here and get your Tempered Soul as well, but I'm not going to mess with that at the moment. So, real quick thing about this build. Like, when we're on this trial dummy right here, we are getting like an uptime on Major Force the whole time we are up. So, it's helping us get to that 125 hard cap on our critical damage. If you're not running, if the group you're running with isn't providing the Major Force, or you're having a hard time, they're having a hard time keeping it up, you can always take off the sword and put on the axe. You can always take off the sword and put on this axe, the Kinraw's axe, because what this is going to do is, from the passive that you have in the two-handed ability line here, axes increase critical damage done by 12%. So if you're not hitting that 125 cap in your group, then by all means go ahead and use the axe. But if you are able to keep up that that Major Force, if you're in a good group that's keeping up Major Force, go with the sword for the extra 284 spell damage, because the extra 12% critical damage done in a good group is not going to benefit you at all because of that hard cap on the critical damage. Now, I think that's all we really need to go over. I'm going to go ahead and do this parse right here. We'll check out the combat report when we're finished, talk a little bit about it, and then we'll wrap the video up. And there we have it, 93,098 damage. Really heavy hitting, really somewhat simple parse, to be honest with you. The rotation's very simple. It's a little bit to get used to with making sure that you're hitting your spectral bow when it procs, but once you get that all figured out and you got it you got it in your mind and you keep that, keep that active in your brain that you need to do that, that's the type of numbers that you can get. Let's hit our combat report here. Check this out real quick. See, our critical damage stayed at 125% the whole fight. Our wrecking blows averaged 15k DPS. Our light attacks averaged 12k DPS. Our executioner averaged 12k DPS. Look at this. That execution, one of my executioners hit for 132k. That is huge. Absolutely huge. And this Assassin's Scourge, we had one of those hit for, what's that say, 90 something right there? Yeah, that's, all these abilities mixed together are, they're great. And like Reliquins, another reason why you should always be weaving light attacks is light attacks did 12k in damage, Reliquins did 7.6. You're literally looking at like 20k in damage per second just from doing light attacks and keeping my arms of Reliquin up. We our critical rating was at 63%. We did 50, almost 50-50 on our crit damage here to normal damage. We did a little bit more. We had a little bit more critical strikes than we did normal strikes. And yeah, I know that doesn't match up with the 63% saying it's only 50%, but you have to take into consideration that the Arms of Reliquin never crits. So that's considered 290 of these right here. So when you take that away, you'll see a crit rating somewhere more in the 65 to 68% range. That the Arms of Reliquin's 290 ticks that it did really flattens this out for us. When you come up here and look into the critical damage done, 71% of our damage done was critical damage, 28% was normal damage. Really nice build. Like I said, once you figure out the rotation and hitting your spectral bow, really easy to rotate this and smack numbers like that. But that's all I got for you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you liked the video, please give us a like, give it a share if you can, and subscribe if you'd like. If not, that's fine as well. But appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you very much, and happy adventuring.